Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. King Charles is scheduled to arrive in Canada for a 2-day visit that carries enormous symbolic weight and more than a little diplomatic subtext. The visit, confirmed just days after new Prime Minister Mark Carney's surprise minority win, will see His Majesty deliver the speech from the throne to open the new session of Parliament, only the third time a reigning monarch has done so in Canadian history, and the first ever by a king. Royal historian Justin Vovk calls the moment unprecedented for Canada, unprecedented for Charles personally, unprecedented for the Crown, and unprecedented for the state of affairs in North America, with US President Donald Trump fueling renewed anxieties by teasing that Canada could become the 51st state. Charles' presence is more than ceremonial. It's a clear signal of Canadian sovereignty. This visit has to go flawlessly, Vovk warns. Washington will be watching. The Commonwealth will be watching. This could be a stabilizing force in a time of real uncertainty. The speech, drafted by Canadian officials, is expected to contain carefully chosen language, subtle, diplomatic, but unmistakable in its tone. Retired political science professor David Johnson predicts it will make big news internationally and send ceremonial but very real messages to the United States. All eyes will now be on how the speech defines Canada's distinct constitutional identity, with Charles embodying that symbolism as King of Canada, not merely King of the United Kingdom. This will be the King's 20th visit to Canada, but his first as sovereign after a planned 2024 trip was delayed due to his cancer diagnosis. It's unclear whether there will be additional public engagements beyond Parliament, but Palace watchers expect his time in Ottawa will reflect long-standing interest in Indigenous reconciliation and environmental stewardship. King Charles' deep personal connection to Canada has been noted often. In recent weeks, he met with Governor-General Mary Simon, Saskatchewan's Lieutenant Governor Bernadette McIntyre, who presented him with lentil snacks and wool scarves, symbolic gifts from the prairie provinces, and a reminder of the King's commitment to Canada's regions. The royal couple is scheduled to land at Ottawa's Macdonald-Cartier International Airport at approximately 1:15 Eastern. Their Majesties will be welcomed by Governor-General Mary Simon, Prime Minister Mark Carney and his wife Diana Fox Carney, and Indigenous leaders including Assembly of First Nations National Chief Cindy Woodhouse Nepinuck, Inuit, Taparit, Kanatami President Nathan Obed, and Métis National Council President Victoria Pruden. A ceremonial guard of honour from the Royal Canadian Dragoons and music by the Canadian Armed Forces Band will greet them on the tarmac. Their next stop will be Lansdowne Park, where the King and Queen will arrive just before 2 p.m. to join a community celebration with artisans, local vendors and cultural performances. His Majesty will participate in a ceremonial puck drop to launch a street hockey demonstration. At 2:50 p.m, the royal couple will travel to Rideau Hall for a ceremonial tree planting and to meet with lieutenant governors and territorial commissioners from across Canada. Later that evening, Queen Camilla will be formally sworn into the King's Privy Council for Canada, a lifetime appointment, enabling her to advise the King on his role as Canada's head of state. The honour mirrors the late Prince Philip's own appointment to the Canadian Privy Council. As King Charles III prepares for another high-profile trip abroad and delivers speeches underscoring national identity and unity, an increasingly pointed question is surfacing at home: how much are British taxpayers really paying to keep the monarchy running? According to Bloomberg opinion columnist Rosa Prince, the answer is murky and deliberately so. The official sovereign grant intended to fund the monarchy's public duties rose a staggering 53% last year to £132 million. That's a fourfold increase from the £31 million grant introduced in 2012, when it replaced the old civil list with promises of better value and transparency. Yet, critics argue that this is only the tip of the iceberg. The campaign group Republic estimates the monarchy's true cost is closer to £510 million annually when factoring in security, travel and maintenance of multiple palaces. Former Liberal Democrat Minister Norman Baker, who has scrutinised royal finances extensively, reaches similar figures. That would equate to roughly £7 per person per year in the UK. Not a bank-breaking figure on paper, especially when royalists tout economic contributions from tourism and diplomacy. But the key issue isn't the number itself, it's the opacity behind it. Unlike nearly every other public body, the royal household is not subject to the Freedom of Information Act. Audits are rare. Oversight is minimal. Even the sovereign grants formula is problematic. It can rise above inflation but never fall. And it is governed by a closed group of the sitting Prime Minister, Chancellor and a senior courtier. Debate in Parliament? Unlikely. Royal finances are a topic largely avoided in the House of Commons by convention. This year's hike was largely due to a £369 million renovation project at Buckingham Palace, a figure that dwarfs the stalled refurbishment plans for Parliament itself, where lawmakers have hesitated for decades to sign off on needed repairs out of concern for public perception. Meanwhile, Charles is estimated to be worth £640 million, thanks in part to his vast royal estates like the Duchess of Lancaster and Cornwall, which operate like private commercial portfolios. They collect rents and fees from public institutions, private homes, even hospital parking lots and wind farms. When residents of the duchies die without wills, their estates go to the Crown. The monarchy also enjoys favourable tax treatment. While Queen Victoria paid income tax in 1842, the Windsors have been slower to follow. The late Queen Elizabeth II voluntarily began paying income tax in 1993, but inheritance and corporate taxes remain largely untouched. Charles' own tax arrangements remain voluntary and could in theory be reversed by a future monarch. What about the King's personal spending? According to Baker's research, Charles deducts millions in expenses from his duchy income, expenses that include horse stabling and footmen wages. Some investments have even been routed through offshore tax havens, as revealed by the Paradise Papers in 2017. And yet polls show that nearly half the country still considers the monarchy good value for the money. Only a quarter disagree. More Palace in a moment. Charles is once again blending tradition with transparency as he opens the gates to Sandringham's working farms for one day only this June. As part of the nationwide Open Farm Sunday initiative, the Norfolk estate, along a private royal retreat, will offer the public a rare opportunity to explore the agricultural side of royal life. Announced on the Sandringham Estate website, the event promises visitors a glimpse into life on the Sandringham farms. Guests can expect to meet livestock, speak with the estate's beekeeper, and observe demonstrations from the Sandringham warden. Tractors and combine harvesters will also be on show, making this a hands-on day designed to appeal to families and countryside enthusiasts alike. Entry is free, and the event will run on June 8th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple, or the app of your choice, and leave us a nice review if you're enjoying the show. Don't forget we have a new show out at the moment called Did He Do It? It's following the trial of Sean Diddy Combs in New York City on sex and racketeering charges. And it's a daily show. Get the updates wherever you get your podcasts. Did he do it? I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue, and good times.